everybody, it's Kelly from Silly Moon Quilting Co. I'm just going to show you quickly, I'm just doing Joan, our 10-inch, new 10-inch ruler Joan. Using that just to go around the perimeter of this circle here. Just something super quick. So the circle or the arc is not exactly the same, so I'm going to have to adjust a little bit, but I'm just using it as a guide to kind of get that round feeling around this quilt. So here we go. So you're just holding the ruler and moving the quilt, and they're holding the ruler at the same time. And you want to make sure you can adjust and stop as you need to, and then move the arc around. And it just kind of keeps that rounded feel. Even though this is square, I want this to look a little bit rounded. So it's going to keep that rounded feel. And when I get to the end, I'm going to stop and just kind of readjust. So when you're working on a domestic machine, you're going to make sure that you do a lot of adjusting. So I'm just kind of adjusting up to the next one. And then I'm just going to slowly go around the whole ruler. Oops. And I stop a lot and adjust the quilt. And then adjust the ruler a bit. And kind of look here and gauge my spacing. And I know that that's about as far as I'm going to go, but when I'm done, it's going to give me that look of being an arc, which is what I'm looking for. And then I'm going to just keep adjusting. And again, like with all of the rulers, this is where you really want to make sure you're using the right thickness of ruler, because you can get in trouble if you're doing this in a thicker ruler. You want to make sure you're not going behind. When you have to rotate it this way, just manipulate your quilt and roll up your quilt so you've got room to work. And as long as you're only working in this space anyway, so that's where you need to be. So as long as your quilt is rolled up, you just want to make sure you're not caught on anything, so there's no drag, because that ends up being a problem. And again, I'm going to set this up and adjust. And there's no rush, there's no hurry. You're just going to go at your own pace. And if you feel that you need to stop and adjust, you can. And I'm just trying to, so that when it's actually quilted and once it goes through the wash, it gives that appearance of a circle around the top of these blocks. So you can see that I've got my slip mat on here. And again, the advantage to ruler work is I can move the quilt wherever I need it to be, and I can move the ruler to wherever I need to be. So as long as I've got the clearance behind the foot, I can kind of work on whatever side of the foot I need to. And you'll find that you get more comfortable with different areas of the quilt. So I'm going to pull this around this way and just give myself a little bit more room. And just roll this, tuck this up under here. And make sure that I've got a nice flat area that I'm working. You want the area you're going to be stitching on to be nice and flat. And I'm just pushing the quilt and the ruler through. And I'm keeping that ruler foot tight to the ruler. And I feel that I can go a little more before I need to turn the quilt again. I'm just going to shift my ruler. And again, I'm using Joan, which is one of our new arcs. So this is a 10-inch arc, which will create a 10-inch arc if I completed a full circle. So now I'm going to flip it all back through and just bundle it up on my lap. And again, create enough room there. Make sure that my space stays about the same. And that's kind of a good gauge for me as a place to stop and shift, because you want to make sure your hands are beside your quilt and make sure that your quilt's not getting hung up on anything, because if it gets hung up, you're going to get stuck. and then I'm right back where I started. So as you can see, that gave me a nice curve around that circle. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to go in here and stitch in the ditch using edgy 6, but I will save that for another video. So there you go. That's a quick video on using our ARC, Joan 10. And this is actually a quilt. This quilt has Minky on the back, so that's the first time I've used Minky on the domestic machine, and that's a little bit different to sew with. But yeah, I'm pretty happy with that. So like I said, that's using our new ruler, Joan 10. And we have 3 arcs available, Joan 10, 12, and 14. Thanks so much and have a great night.